Hey Austin, this is Keaton Everett from ABC going over your pitching video from the spring break camp. Um, you know, as you can see, kind of the recording isn't the greatest recording. Kind of is a little bit streaky and grainy, but we're able to see what's going on and break it down and talk a little bit about mechanics and just talk about how we can get ourselves consistent, how we can get ourselves throwing with more power, and how we can get ourselves in a healthy position because we obviously want to stay injury free our whole life. So that's one of the most important things we'll kind of talk about. So right off the bat, we're going to start and kind of talk about what you're doing over the rubber. All right, how we start dictates a lot of how we're going to finish. So we got to make sure we're starting consistently, we're starting balanced, we're keeping good posture. All right, so we're going to go over and just kind of watch what your posture's doing and what your head's doing. All right, so that's just basically what your spine is doing, and right off the bat, really good right here. All right, a lot of times we'll see guys start drifting their head forward. You'll see their weight shift down over that front foot, but everything with you, as you can see, your back, you're over that back leg. It looks like in a nice, powerful position, ready to get going. So that's a really good start. All right, that's nice. It's going to be nice and consistent. It's going to be easy. And another thing I like to see is those hands break as that leg's coming down. All right. One of the things that will help you get consistent is to limit this movement with your glove. So you can see how your glove, we'll jump it back a little bit, how it kind of goes up with your knee and then comes down with your knee. A little bit of movement's fine, but we want to limit this big drop right here. Your hands are breaking, probably right around in this area, and we need them to break right as this leg's coming down. So right when this knee's up, your hands should be breaking right here, so that you should be getting down the glove, getting that arm path going. Because if you're late, you're going to kind of roll through the pitch and not get all the power you can get out of it. So just limit that hand movement. Kind of either tuck it in closer to your body. Again, a little bit of movement's okay, but just I think if you keep your hands a little bit closer to your body, you're going to be able to time up that arm a little bit better. All right, but other than that, you're nice and balanced. Everything's in a great position. Your knees back. All right, you got your hips closed. You're ready to drive towards the mound or towards the plate. All right, the one thing that will help yourself out, getting a little more power, a little more hips down the mound, is, as you can see, if we watch your front knee, it sort of swings open like a door would on a hitch. So if you kind of think of your hip as a hitch, you can see it kind of just swing open, swing open, swing open. What we want to see is, back in this position, your first movement down, we want to see your hip start. So we want to see that that hip bone or that back pocket start down the mound before that knee starts to swing open. So you'd start to see your hips come out of this box before that knee comes open, instead of your hips staying in this box, your knee pops open, and now your hips start coming out of the box. So you want to get that knee up in that position, drive those hips down the mound, and get yourself just driving through those legs. All right, instead of right here, it just kind of looks like it's just not the most powerful position we can be in. We'd have this knee a little bit towed in because we're driving everything down, and you can just get a lot more power and push and drive from those legs. Pitching velocity is all about in our lower half. Our upper half's just there to kind of guide ourselves, keeps ourselves balanced, and that lower half's doing all the work. So we just got to get those hips going quicker down the mound, using more of those legs. All right, and then you'll see where you're at foot strike. All right, this is kind of tough to see where your foot first hits the ground. I think it's about right here. So at this position, you're really cutting yourself off. That's probably 3 to 4 feet lengths. We want to try to get it at least 5 to 6. We want to get those legs moving. We want to get ourselves out down the mound. So try to extend yourself out a little bit, and that's going to happen by keeping your hips closed and driving your hips first. You know, you don't think about using your left leg, your left foot to reach out. Just think about keeping your hips closed longer, farther down the mound, and then you're going to be able to get yourself out, you know, more in this position, and just using more of that lower half. You know, it's going to get you closer to the plate. That's going to get you, you know, just able to generate more torque, more velocity. So now you're in, you know, this position instead of back. So you can see, you know, just the ability to get your legs out a little bit farther is going to help you get your body out a little bit more. All right. Arm-wise, your arm's in a nice, healthy position. Okay, we got, you know, your elbows about level with the shoulder. Okay, we don't like to see, you know, a hyper abduction of the elbow, or you know, a really low angle there. So that's good. Nice solid position. All right, you're keeping your glove fixed pretty well down over that front foot. Now it's just a matter of letting your body get out a little bit farther and driving that you know, keeping your hip in this, or this glove in the same position, but just getting your lower half farther down the mound. All right, and then back at this foot strike, you can see your upper body's, that posture starting to kind of leaning forward over that front side. We want to keep that loaded up on that back side a little bit longer, so we can get a little more torque. And torque is your ability to get your hips in, you know, almost this position. So your hips are almost facing right towards the catcher, and your upper body hasn't even turned. So we're back in that position we kind of drew last time. So we're back here. So we want those hips towards that catcher. We want the hips to come through first, and then we want that right shoulder to come through. So just work on so you're just kind of rotating at the same time. Hips start as that shoulder's coming through. So we want to get those hips going first, and then the shoulder comes through. So then you don't get this right here. When we're leading with that elbow, when that elbow's getting out in front, that's where you get some, you put a big load on that elbow, and it leads to some problems down the road. So we got to make sure that we're using more of our body, because when you do get your leg out here, you are striding out farther. You know, now your body's going to be catching up to your arm, and you're going to be, you know, you kind of want that elbow around that head, you know, a little bit maybe out in front, but we don't want to see that much sky between your elbow and your head. All right, that just loads up that elbow. But getting yourself out farther down the mound will help with that. All right, and then as you can see, when you're finishing, you're kind of almost standing up, because you're not using those legs. We want to see you get out over that front foot and almost land, you know, parallel to the ground in a T position, instead of, you know, kind of facing straight up. So you just got to be using more of your body. And I know it's you know, it's just a side work. You're not facing a live hitter, but you know, always practice game-like and really finish and get out front. But it's just a matter of using your lower body a little bit more, and everything else, that upper body looks pretty good. So once you get those hips involved, once you get down the mound a little bit, everything's gonna time up. You're gonna get more velocity, and it's gonna be a lot more healthier position. So anyways, good work. Good luck this season, and thanks for making it out to camp. Hope you had a good time, and we'll see you again with ABC in the future.